If you guys ever wondered how to get a trucker to flip out to the point that his head starts spinning and he starts spewing insanity out of his mouth and vulgar cuss words to the point that you think we might need to call a priest and get an exorcism done on that man, well, here's how you do it. Here's how you see it in action. Walk into a truck stop sometime, truckers all around you, and walk in there and just loudly proclaim, California really isn't that bad. And watch them lose their ever-loving minds as you just had the nerve to say California isn't that bad. And somewhere amongst all the hooting and the hollering that's going to be going on, somebody's going to go, California ain't that bad. Because they do that. You know, when you were a kid, everybody had that friend. Let's say you're like 5 years old. If you didn't have the friend, I got bad news for you. You were that friend. But you had the friend that would repeat everything you said in like a mocking tone. Kind of like I do on this channel about truckers. But, you know, you would say something, I don't know, just off the top of the dome here. I like chicken. That's what I came up with, guys. That's the phrase I came up with. A lot going on up here, right? But the friend would be like, I like chicken, you know? And surprisingly, some of those guys made it to adulthood. Not a lot of them, because those were also the guys that you could dare to do anything and they would fucking do it. So not a lot of them made it to adulthood. But out of the ones that made it to adulthood, a surprising amount of them got CDLs. And they're truck drivers now, guys. So that's how you end up with things like California when you mention that you really don't mind California. And I'm surprised I made that through that, because I don't know if you guys just noticed the camera jump. As soon as I started talking, they hit the trailer with the forklift. They're loading me right now, and I damn near fell over. So I'm surprised I even got through that intro. But that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. Why truckers absolutely hate California. And I am in California a lot these days. And I gotta be honest, I don't hate it. It's starting to wear on me sometimes. It's like, it's time to get the hell out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And that is the first reason we're going to talk about what makes this state so goddamn frustrating for truck drivers sometimes. And that is the ridiculous truck speed limit. Anybody seen that? All the truckers here, they know what I'm talking about, right? For those of you that aren't truckers, maybe you're not from California, maybe you've never been there, you might not know. People from California might not know, because maybe they're not even paying attention. They're just like, why the fuck are these trucks going so slow in front of us? But California has a statewide maximum speed limit for all trucks at 55 miles per hour. I'm going to tell you, not many people follow it. Not many people do. I know I don't. I think my first couple trips into California when I was a new driver, I followed it pretty closely, maybe 58, something like that. But you can always kind of point to your new drivers, or maybe the drivers that are on the run from the law. I don't really know. But you can always kind of see your new drivers, because they're going 55 through the entire state of California. And look, they're doing what they're told to do, right? Gotta go 55. That's what the sign says. But they're in the fucking way. If I'm being honest with you, they're in the way. You can always point out the new guys. And to me, obviously, that speed limit does not make sense. I imagine when it was first introduced, who knows how long it's been like that. I'm sure some people know. I don't know. But I'm sure when it was first introduced, there was some sort of reasoning given. May have been a safety issue, may have been a fuel saving issue, may have been a number of different things. I don't really know. But it is pretty fucking absurd. It is absolutely absurd that the entire state is 55 miles per hour. Now, when you get around your cities, you're probably not going to do much more than 55 anyways. If you wanted to slow all the trucks down around, San Diego, I think you would consider a city. Kind of small, kind of not. San Diego, LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, and there's a bunch of cities out there in between. But maybe you want to slow trucks down in those cities or around those cities. Sure, that makes sense. But what a lot of people don't realize, unless you're up north in the mountains, you're going to be running probably slower than 55 up there anyways. What a lot of people don't realize is huge parts of California are a desert fucking wasteland. Middle of fucking nowhere. Gross, ugly. I mean, it's not gross and ugly. Like, you see, like, abandoned buildings and stuff out there that, you know, they get graffitied and the windows are all broken out of them and stuff. It's kind of cool, actually, to see stuff like that just right next to the interstate. But it literally looks like the Mojave Wasteland in Fallout New Vegas, for anyone that's played. Very similar landscape. And when you're out there, really? Do we really need to go 55? And like I said, no one does. But it is really a frustrating thing trying to get around that state. Because, why? What is the purpose of all this, right? And that's the biggest reason, you know, that truckers really don't like. I think maybe truckers have different views. Maybe some of the reasons I discussed today will be their biggest reason. I'm not really sure, but that is definitely my biggest reason for not really enjoying California. It used to be that it was like a nice relaxing drive, you know, you're just cruising 55, 60 across the state, just kind of doing whatever. That was kind of relaxing, but now it's like, I don't know if trucking's changed or I've gotten older and like I just don't have time for the bullshit anymore. But it's like, it seems like there's always somewhere to be. We gotta go, right? And there were times I remember just rolling across California. Hey, no big deal. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. But now it's like everything always seems like I gotta get there, man. I'm not late to shit. I'm not gonna be late now because of this damn speed limit. And to me, that shit is absolutely frustrating. So I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Now, a lot of truckers, there's a lot of myths in trucking. A lot of things that, as far as I can tell, are not true. I've never had this happen. 10-year veteran of the trade here, and I've never seen these things happen that people say do happen. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with an older trucker a couple days ago that was talking about California, and you better make sure that truck clean, like washed on the outside when you go rolling through those scales, or they're going to pull you in and inspect that truck. I've never had that happen. Never in my life have I been concerned I better stop at a truck wash before I cross into California. I have never ever seen that. And that kind of goes into the next point, is you hear a lot about how you get inspected all the time in California. You know, you're always going to get inspected, always getting inspected. I have never in my 10-year career, not one time, been inspected by the DOT in the state of California. Has never happened. Not once. Roll through the scales all the damn time. Sometimes you get the green light on the pre-pass. Sometimes you get the red light and you got to roll through there. Not once. Now, it's not to say that people don't get inspected. They have a fucking ton of inspection bays. A literal fuck ton of inspection bays and scales all over California. Me personally, it's never been an issue. It has never ever been an issue whatsoever. Never had it happen. But a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, you know, got to have the clean truck or you're going to get inspected. And they're constantly inspecting you, just looking for things to write you up on so that, you know, they can fine you. Is that even a thing? Because that's a little bit confusing to me. I have had my fair share of DOT inspections in my day. A fucking ton of them. And maybe this applies more to owner-operators because I've never been fined. I've passed some inspections. I haven't quite passed a few others, right? That's kind of the nature of the beast. And, but I've never received an actual fine for not passing an inspection. Not once. Now, that may, like I say, the reason that might apply more to owner-operators is because if there's something wrong with the truck, obviously they write it up. Now you got to go get that damn thing fixed, and that's, you know, money coming out of your pocket. But owner-operators are generally, the ones that take it seriously, pretty good about keeping their equipment maintained anyway. So I don't imagine they fail a lot of inspections, but in the event they do, maybe they're just happy to get the thing fixed. I don't fucking know. I'm not really sure, but that's the thing I always hear. Another really frustrating thing has to do with when you're crossing the border into California. Anybody that's ever done that in a truck or a car, they have check stations you have to stop at. It's like a produce check station. I went through there in a car just a few days ago, and I've never ever been through across the California border in a car. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? Because normally in the truck, I show my bills or tell them, you know, what I'm hauling. So in the car, they say, do you have any fruits or vegetables in your vehicle? And you say yes or no to that. I don't know what happens if you say yes, like they throw you out of the car and curb stomp you and then shoot you in the back, or I'm not sure what happens if you say yes to that. I'd be a little bit afraid to say yes to that, if I'm being honest. But in a truck, it's just a little bit frustrating, especially like when you come in. I know for sure I-15 out of Las Vegas, when you're coming in that way, you got to slow down. You got to stop at this check station, right? And they just ask you what you're hauling. That's it. Now, if it is produce, one time I was coming into California with produce, which seems to be pretty rare. I've only ever done it once coming in, left plenty of times with produce, but only one time came in and they just gave me like a stamp on my bills that said they inspected it. I guess sometimes they do actually have you open up the trailer and they'll go in and have a look, I guess, for insects or things like that. I'm not really sure. But when you're coming in on I-15, it's a long climb after that, right? Long, very long. I'm from Colorado, so I don't know if I'd call that a mountain, boys. It's just a hill, right? But it just takes forever. So now you're starting the truck from a stop position to climb this fucking hill. And my God, does it take forever if you're, loaded heavy. And it's like, I could have at least came into this fucking hill with some goddamn momentum to keep me going for a while. But now I got to roll up this son of a bitch at 15 miles per hour, and it's going to take you a good hour to pull that motherfucker by the time you get done. So for me, that's kind of frustrating, right? I don't really care for that, even fucking a little bit. So what all did we cover? The speed limit. The speed limit. LA sucks. Does anybody know that? Los Angeles absolutely fucking sucks. Same for San Francisco, and to a degree Sacramento. I haven't spent a whole lot of time around San Diego. I've only been down there once or twice, I think. 2 or 3 times. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. I mean, it's hard to fucking say. It's hard to say. But the parking situation is an absolute fucking nightmare when it comes to those cities. Sacramento, not as bad. You can get out of town a little bit and find some parking. There's actually some pretty decent parking spots up on Donner. Of course, going I-5 north, tons of parking. But then that goddamn 49er, right? It's like the 49er truck stop where they charge you for parking. I get it. Like, charge for parking is like a thing in a lot of places, but that 49er in Sacramento, they charge you for sure, and it's really hard to park around there. It's a really, really difficult thing. And something I learned one time when I was there, they have a very strict policy that if you're riding together with someone, you are not allowed under any circumstances whatsoever at all to use the same shower. You go in there with somebody that's riding along with you, they will make you use different showers, and they enforce it to the point when I was there learning about that rule for the first time ever. There were like 3 or 4 other couples there also learning about that rule. And one of them was fired the fuck up. He was pissed. He said, you're going to make me pay for two fucking showers? What? We could just shower. Like, we always shower together wherever we go. And if I had to guess, could have very well been a, prostitution problem in that area, because maybe the truck driver's walking in and says, hey, why don't you join me in that shower? Girl walks up, what are you doing? And they go and they do their thing in the shower. Could have very well. That's the only thing I can come up with. Why wouldn't they allow you to shower with a person that you shower with all the damn time? It doesn't make any fucking sense now, does it? But that's all I could come up with. But parking, pretty horrendous. San Francisco, I mean, that whole Bay Area, awful. Absolutely terrible for parking a truck. It can be done. It can be done, but it's not a whole lot of fun. And LA, Oh boy, LA's a shit show. Anytime I'm going to LA, it's like, all right, can I stop an hour or two outside of town, take my 10-hour break, get up early and get into town? And does that afford me the luxury of getting loaded and getting the fuck back out of town? Because there's been times where I'm like, I ain't got no time, but where am I supposed to park? You know, yeah, you work around it. You PC if you have to. Or there was one time I just went, I'm gonna be 4 minutes short. That was actually pretty recently. Like I was 4 minutes. I went 4 minutes over my drive time. Oh well, you know, nothing I could do to get up to Hesperia and park. But fucking parking in LA is the worst goddamn thing ever. If you can find a truck stop, it's never empty. Never. There might be some, and the thing about this, like, even if I knew of some, I wouldn't say what they were, right? Because there's probably some truckers that know of a spot where they can come into LA, they can always get parking. And if I knew of it, and then I started blabbering about it all over my YouTube channel, boy, I'd have some fired up fucking truckers, wouldn't I? Rightfully so, because that's, if you find something like that, you want to keep that a secret, you know, and not tell anyone. But I went once, it was during the day, guys. It was, 9 a.m., 10, 11, somewhere in that range. And I was just going to a fucking Pilot, right? It took me forever to park. And it was like just doing laps around the lot until someone was pulling out. And then, oh, perfect timing. I'm going to pull in and you just block it out, block everyone. And I say, hell no, I'm taking this damn spot. And you get in there. But I waited 3 fucking hours to get a shower in the middle of the day. I mean, it was people in there nonstop, just getting showers. And LA just sucks, man. I'm getting anxiety right now just thinking about it. One of the companies I worked for had a yard there. I'm not sure if this, I think they have a drop yard there, this one. I've never been to it. But one of the companies I worked for had a drop yard, but you could go in and you could park for the night. Hold on. Good God Almighty. When you want to get stuff done around here, you sit for hours waiting to get loaded or unloaded. When you're busy, when you're trying to record a dadgum video, then they get the damn thing loaded in 15 fucking minutes. And then you got to stop what you're talking about. So what was I talking about? Yeah, LA sucks. LA's just a horrible place for truckers. Just a really, really god-awful place. But it's not the worst thing ever. You know, you can stop 50, 60 miles outside, 30 miles maybe, depending where you're at, if you're lucky, and be able to find plenty of parking and then kind of make the trek in there to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. You know what I really like about LA? A lot of taco trucks. Yeah, and they go to the shippers and receivers. So you be rolling in there, you know, and sitting there waiting to get unloaded in the morning going, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm starving. I need something to eat. And the taco truck rolls in. Oh my God. It's like sometimes God is actually listening to you and just answers your prayers, you know. Gotta love an LA taco truck. Oh, the best there is, man. Got to love it. So that's always sort of a nice thing. So more things that truckers hate about California. They are the ones that are responsible, in part, I'd say a huge push for it. The DEF systems, the DEF systems, the DPF systems, some people have different names, but the anti-smog systems that are now equipped on diesel engines that prevent us from blowing our cool black clouds all over the sky for everyone to see how big our trucker dicks are. Oh yeah, nothing makes us feel more manly than a big cloud of black smoke that we generated all by ourselves by pushing really hard on the pedal over there. But it makes us feel real masculine, right? So they got rid of our damn black smoke. Now you can't even tell that they're trucks anymore. They're just big cars driving around, not even making noise and not blowing smoke all over the place. It's a goddamn shame is what it is, right? But obviously it's a nationwide thing that trucks all have these DEF systems. But California, it's required, I think. Yeah, well, you guys might know better than me, because I don't think... You would think I would check these things before I made a video, right? But I feel like there are trucks that are too old to go into California, because they don't have the DEF system, and sometimes they'll actually like smog check you. You guys probably know more than me, but because of California's push for more regulation just to fuck with the truckers, according to the truckers, we end up with these DEF systems now, which when they first came out on trucks were absolutely catastrophic, just breaking down all the time, causing major issues with trucks. They've since been adjusted to, you know, work better, and we don't have so much of the mechanical problems. But when they go out, boy, it's a real fucking problem, because that's what happened with me and my International I used to have. Is we found out the damn truck was deleted and no one bothered to fucking tell us at the dealership, and then we were too late in the process. My mechanic had already updated the software on the truck that caused just an absolute catastrophic fucking mess. And I think I was in it about 12, 13 grand by the time we fixed that truck. And I might have been getting off easy. I'm not really sure. But when they do fail, it's a really, really bad thing, right? Now, me being the snot-nosed brat millennial that I am, I actually kind of like it. I think it's a good idea. And I say that because I always had the impression that it was up to us as adults to try to leave the world in better shape than we found it, to try to make things better for the future generations. That's my understanding of how life works. We start out on a shitty planet, and like our parents, well, my parents are boomers, so they weren't trying to fix a goddamn thing. They were really interested in wrecking shit. So the boomers were very destructive. Sorry, boomers. It's a joke. It's a running joke here. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You know how fragile boomers can get on the internet, though. You make one joke and they're like, I fucking hate this guy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go kick his ass. Boomers, stop talking about how you're going to kick everyone's ass. That's just chill the fuck out, right? But anyways, my understanding of how life works is we do that. We try to do better for the next generation. So instead of, you know, looking at my children and saying, you live in a smog cloud and the ground is full of toxic fucking sludge, but, you know, we didn't really try anything. I think it's good in general that we are taking initiatives to try to clean up pollution, clean up the air, clean the water, and things like that. And maybe humans are a fucking cancer, so we'll never leave a pristine planet behind. But maybe, just maybe, we can make it a little bit better. And I see that just as anecdotal evidence. I'm from Denver. It used to be, back in the like 90s, you would drive into Denver and you would see the smog cloud sitting over the city from miles away. And it was thick. It was this just dark brown cloud just hung over the city, and I'm sure most major cities were like that. You absolutely do not see that anymore. Hold on again. Good Lord, now dispatch was calling. Leave me alone, I'm very busy right now. Can't you see? I'm working very hard right now. So anyways, that's handled. Anyways, a lot of truckers absolutely hate these DEF systems, and to a point rightfully so, because when they came out, like I said earlier in the video, they were really, really bad, expensive, constantly breaking and causing massive repairs. And for the owner operators, that was probably a real shit show right at the beginning. But now I think they're a good thing. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, but I lose some horsepower. That's the biggest argument I hear now, is because of that DEF system, I lose some horsepower. Hey, you know what? That, to me, that sounds fine. As a matter of fact, if we did look at our children and grandchildren and say, hey, yeah, I'm sorry that you have to, you know, carry around a umbrella made of metal because of all the acid rain. I don't know if metal would stop acid rain. I'm not really sure. But because of all that, I'm sorry about that. But I did get to pull the mountains at 17 miles per hour instead of 15. And to me, it was fucking worth your future and your miserable, stupid little life, so that I could go 2 miles per hour faster on a mountain. And fuck you. Fuck you, that's what I meant to say. So I think that would be a really selfish way to look at that, really bad reasoning. So overall, I think they're good things. Same thing I think with all the windmills you see everywhere and all the different, the solar farms, all this alternative energy. And like I said, based on my anecdotal evidence, we don't see smog clouds hanging over every city now. That must be a good thing. I would assume that's probably a good thing. And there was one last thing that truckers absolutely hate. about California. Gotta be honest, I don't really know why. They flip the fuck out about California's politics. And they got Gavin Newsom in there, and he's over there saying that we need to, whatever they're mad about. I don't fucking know. But people get really, really pissed off to the point that they refuse to drive in old California because they can't stand the politics of the state. And to me, that sounds a little bit fucking silly. You know what? My politics don't line up with a lot of the states out there at all. But I still work. I mean, I still have a job to do. And that's fine with me. I guess it's personal preference. If you don't want to go to a state because you don't like their politics, you're starting to cut yourself off from a lot of work though. So that'd be like going west to east, just off the top of my head. Once we get out East Coast, I don't remember who's who, but on the western half of the country, the blue states are, Washington, Oregon, California, somewhat Arizona, I think, somewhat even Nevada, not Idaho. They're red as shit. They're red as shit. Colorado, New Mexico looks like it leans blue. I mean, you just cut yourself off almost the entire western half of the country, just because you don't like politics. You don't have to like politics to deliver a load, you know what I'm saying? In any situation, you ain't gotta like the politics to deliver the load, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But hey, that's how a lot of people feel about it, and they won't go to California because they just absolutely cannot stand the politics. Well, fuck, I guess that's a good reason as any, isn't it? I guess it is. And I think that's it. That's all I can come up with. Go ahead, guys, in the comments. Why do you hate going to California? Tell us all about it. I'm sure we'll all be excited. I'm just kidding, guys. Always love reading the comments, even if I'm in a shitty mood, because I do that. Sometimes I lay in the truck and go, why did this person say that? And then I get all grumpy about it. But always enjoy reading the comments nonetheless. So, hey, I'll wrap this up. Talk to you guys next time. We'll see what other kind of shenanigans we can get into. Bye now.